Yes. Yes, very true. Very true. We saw that he was scared and he was not able to hold his Gandiva. We saw he he told us different symptoms that he was experiencing. And that's actually like a crucial moment in the first Adhyay when Arjuna has a complete meltdown. And from that meltdown, then he has more thoughts of why he should not do things. Because you see, our mind is like an answering machine. If we ask a question, we'll get the answer. So if I ask a question, hey, tomorrow I might be late to office, how would I get late to office? And I will get immediately three answers. I might wake up late. I might get stuck in traffic. There is no parking. Even if I reach on time, I would still not be able to reach there. So our mind gives us a lot of answers, which is why a lot of times our quality of life depends the quality of the questions that we ask ourselves. And in this case, Arjuna asked himself the question, what would happen if I don't fight? Or rather, what would happen if I do fight? What all bad things would happen if I fight? And from there, he got a lot of answers. And those answers are the ones that we are going to explore in these sessions. So let me just share my screen. I see Manish has joined. Hi, Manish. Thanks for joining. All right. I hope you guys can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, fabulous. Let me go to chapter 1. And I believe we were on chapter, I think we had definitely seen the 37th verse. Yadyapyete na pashyanti lobho pahachetasaha kulakshaya krutam dosham mitra dohe cha patakam. We had not seen this one. Okay, let's step back. We had not seen this one as well. All right. See, this is how we get clarity. We had not seen this one as well. We can't see the Gita window. Okay.
Aniket, was it 22 chapter?
The verse number, is it? No, I think we had gone beyond
Sorry,
that.
verse number, yeah.
Okay. No, we had definitely seen this one. Okay, let me just share my window again because you were not able to see the Bhagavad Gita window. Can you see the window now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, so we had seen this verse, 34th verse, where, well, maybe as you said, we'll just go back a few verses so that we all have a quick recap of what all things we have looked at. And we will start with the meltdown of Arjuna. Ira, why don't you also join from a tab? You join from the tab. Okay, fine. My daughter wants to join as well. Give me a minute. I'll just share the link quickly with her and then we can resume. Okay. All right. So the sloka was Sidanti mama gatrani mukhancha parishushati Vepatushcha sharire me roma harshascha jayate, where he says, my body is trembling. I'm getting shivers and the Gandiva slips from my hand and my skin is also burning. I've got goosebumps all over my body. He also said, Gandivam strausate hastat tvacheva paridhahyate. Tvacha means skin. Paridahyate means it's on fire. I feel like my skin is on fire. Nacha shaknomya avasthatum brahmativa cha me manaha. He says, I'm not able to stand properly and I'm having gol chakkar. I'm not able to focus also. All of these are the signs that he is right now in a lot of stress. He is having hypertension. All of these are the indications of that. Nimittani cha pashyami viparitani keshava. That means he's seeing all the bad omens around him, that he should not be doing these things. He says, Nacha Shreyo Anupashyami Hatva Swajanamahave. He says, I don't see any value in killing my own kinmen. Swajanam ahave. Why should I kill my own people? I don't see any benefits in that. Then he says, Nakangshe Vijayam Krishna Nacha Rajyam Sukhanicha. Kim no Rajyena Govinda Kim Bhogair Jivitena Va. Now here we saw a small bifurcation between Sukha, and we also had, so basically we have got a lot of good facilities and the true happiness. They really don't go hand in hand. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is, there is Sukha and then there is Shanti. And you will see many people who have a lot of money. They have a lot of things going for them. But even then, they are not actually happy because there is something missing. There were a lot of people, you will see Rakshasas. If you take all the Rakshasas that we have seen, look at Ravan. He was almost the king of the world. He had all of the gods were in fact working for him. They were doing normal jobs for Ravana. And he had a lot of money. He had a lot of power. But even then, was he happy? He was not. Because the moment he heard from his own sister that there is the world's most beautiful lady called Sita and you don't have her, he became sad. So a lot of times these material sources of happiness are not really everlasting. You may have the best couch in the world. What is that most expensive couch company whose sofas are like the most expensive? You've got a lot of showroom of them in Bangalore.
Royal Oak.
Royal Oak, not so much expensive. Good try, Ira. There is one more showroom, right?
Stanley.
Yeah, Stanley. Yeah, high five. Yes, Stanley. Now the Stanley sofas are like the most expensive, and only very few people can afford the Stanley sofas. Now somebody may have an entire house decorated as per their wishes, but even then they might not be a happy person, because happiness comes from the heart. It comes from here, not from all the things that you own or you possess. So even here, Arjuna is actually debating with Krishna that I might kill all these people and I might get all the Rajya, but will that give me the happiness? No. So Nakangshe Vijayam Krishna, I don't want this victory, because a lot of people, they want to win. They may have a lot of things with them, but there is a chemical called as adrenaline or endorphin. So when you do something thrilling or when you win something, you get endorphin. And when you get endorphin, you feel good. After some time, endorphin goes down. And you feel like, oh, I want to win again. So you go back. Can any of you guess which industry makes the best use of this chemical? Richa, Sundar, Asha?
Which chemical, Aniket?
Endorphin.
Endorphin. I think pharma.
No, not pharma. It's the gaming industry.
Oh, right. Yeah.
In the gaming industry, they make you win again and again, and you feel like, wow, I won this level. Now I want to win again. I want to win again. And you keep getting that dose of endorphin. And that's why people get hooked to the games. So he says, Nakangshe Vijayam Krishna. I don't want to win. I don't have any addiction to that. Nacha Rajyam Sukhanicha. Or neither do I want all the material happiness that I will get when I become the king of Hastinapur. Kim no Rajyen Govinda, Kim Bhogair Jivitena Va. So he also says, so he says, why should I even want to do all this? of what avail this dominion to us, or pleasures, or even life, if I have to kill all these people? Bhogair jivitena va. So jivitena, which is only for bhoga, which is actually something you might hear in a lot of Western philosophy, where they say, oh, you just enjoy today. You see, in the US and in many other countries, well, now they have changed, but earlier they did not have the concept of savings. People believed in living the day, not saving much, enjoy the most, because they get paid on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis. So they only think this much. So that is bhogair jivitenava. You only live to enjoy, nothing beyond that. But again, that's a very primitive way of living, don't you think? Do you know who live like that? People, well, not even people, animals live like that. Because animals don't even think about philosophy and all. If we were to have a machine that captures the thoughts of a dog, that the thoughts would be, where am I going to get my next meal? What is the next place where I can sleep really well? That's all that the dog thinks, nothing much more. So again, that's a very primitive way of thinking, and that's where we humans are way ahead, more evolved, because we have other needs as well. Yesham arthe kangshitam no rajyam bhogah sukhanicha. So again, he says, those for whose sake we desire the kingdom, enjoyments and pleasure, stand here in the battle. Okay, just a minute. Right, just a minute. So as I was saying, yesham arthe kangshitam no, yesham as in for whom, arthe, that is the purpose, kangshitam means what the desire or coveted for, no rajyam bhogah sukhanicha. So by us, that is the na, rajyam is kingdom, bhogaha means pleasures, sukhanicha, that means happiness. So for whom do I have to, do all of this war, so that some people will get happy, or they will be happy after that? Ta imeva vyavasthita yuddhe pranan tyaktva dhanani cha. They all stand in battle having renounced life and wealth. So you see, from Arjuna's point of view, let's say, Arjuna, he has a son, he has got brothers and a lot of relatives. Usually what happens is, when you win a war, you get a lot of riches. Now you are the king of a new kingdom, but you don't want to enjoy that alone. You want to enjoy that with your family. And it is these people for whom you do all the fighting. But then all of the people who are present over there, they are the people who would enjoy this. So Arjuna is saying all of this effort is futile, that I might kill all these people and I might win the war, but while I am winning the war, a lot of people from my side will be killed as well. Because Arjuna knows the brutal reality of the war, that in any war, there will be a lot of casualties on both the sides, which means even though he might win, but he would still be dreading that victory because of the cost that they had to pay to get that victory. Now, that is the point which he is using to convince Sri Krishna that this is another reason why I should not fight. Then he says, who are the people for whom he would like to fight? The first person he said is Acharya, because Dronacharya, his guru, as he fights with a lot of valor, his guru would be happy to see all of that from Arjuna. But in this case, his guru is standing in the opposite direction, in the other party. Then he says Pitaraha, that is fathers. Then he says Putraha, his own son. Tatha evacha, that is, and pitamaha, grandfathers. We have Bhishma also over here. Then he says matulaha. Matulaha means mama. Then he says shwashuraha, that is father-in-law, father-in-law. We also have pautra. Pautra means grandsons. So what he has done is he has gone one generation higher, father-in-law. Then we have son and also have grandsons. All these people are here. Then he says shalaha. Shalaha means brother-in-law. And sambandhins tatha. That is a lot of other kinsmen or a lot of other relatives also. They are all present here. These are the people I am supposed to fight. Eta na hantumichhami gnatopi madhusudana. Then he says, so he says, Eta na hantumichhami. He says, I don't want, even though I am getting killed, even in that case, I don't want to be the reason for the death of all of these people. He says, Etanna hantum ichhami gnatopi madhusudana. Now let's look at one word at a time. Etan means these. Na means not. So hantum is to slay. Ichhami is I wish. So I don't want to slay. Gnataha, killed. Api means even though. Madhusudana is again Sri Krishna. But remember here, it is not just a name, okay? A lot of times it is misinterpreted as these are just different names of Krishna. But we should remember that in Bhagavad Gita, whenever Arjuna calls Krishna by a name, there is a reason behind it. We will come to that. So he says, Etanna hantum ichhami gnatopi madhusudana. So I don't want these people to get killed. And he calls Krishna as Madhusudana, that is whose face is so sweet. So he is like, I don't want these things to happen. And even then you are looking at me with that smita hasya of yours. How are you approving these actions, Krishna? Why are you not stopping me? Sometimes we know what is the thing that needs to be done, but we just want to hear it from someone else's mouth. In this case, because we are looking for validation. In this case, Arjuna is desperately looking for validation. And he is looking for that validation from Krishna. And that's why he is looking at this. And then he says, Api Trailokya Rajyasya Hotoho Hetoho Kim Nu Mahikrute. And he says, even for the sake of the kingdom of extending over the three worlds, I don't even want to speak of doing all of these things. So he is just expressing that he doesn't want to fight with all of these people. You might be noticing that I'm not asking you to chant a lot of shlokas today because we are getting there. Nihatya dharta rashtrannah ka pritihi syat janardana papam evashraya edam asman hatvaitan atayatiyah. So papam evashrayad asman hatvaitan atatayinah. Atatayinah. The word is atatayinah. Now, let's go through the meaning first, word by word. Nihatya dharta rashtrannah. What does that mean? Nihatya is by killing the sons of Dhritarashtra. That is all the Kauravas. Naha means are, ka means what, pratihi means pleasure, will there be is syat. That is ka pritihi syat janardana. what pleasure will I get in killing all these sons of Dhritarashtra? So then he says, Papam, so here Papam eva ashrayet, that is vices or papa certainly must come upon asman, that is us, hatva, that is by killing, etan, all of these atatainaha, that is aggressors. So by killing all of these aggressors, I'm only going to receive a lot of papa. He's saying that I don't see any value in killing them. They are the people I would like to fight for, not fight against. And now he's saying, just by looking at, just by killing all these people, there is nothing to be gained except papa. And I don't want to do that. Another reason why he doesn't want to fight. The next one, Tasman narha vayam hantum. Let's look at again. Tasman, that is hence, na, that is never, araha, that is behoovy, which is vayam, that is we, hantum. So far we know the meaning of hantum. That word has been repeated 3 times. Dhartarashtram, Swabandhavan, Swajanam, he. So again, Dhartarashtran, Swabandhavan, Swajanam, he. Katham hatva sukhinaha shyama madhava. So again, coming back, therefore it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, who are our own relatives. For O Madhava, how can we be happy by killing our own kinsmen? So here you can see there are a lot of words that Arjuna is using. He's saying our kinsmen, we are going to kill them, we are going to get the papa. And in the next few adhyaya, as we look at the concepts of papa, look at the concepts of karma yoga, Krishna is going to literally cut each of these logic, the ties of this logic, thread by thread, very beautifully. And as currently we are studying the Adhyay Kramank 4 in my other class. So in all of those shlokas, Krishna is constantly referring to this initial conversation, because the entire 17 adhyayas are going to be built upon this first adhyaya. And that's why Arjuna Vishad also became a yoga. Yoga means yuj, to join, somebody who wants to join something, hence karma yoga. Okay, now he said, Tasman narha vayam hantum dhartarashtran swabandhavan swajanam hi katham hatva sukhinah shyama madhava. So why are we even killing our own people? How can we be happy by killing them? So what am I going to get out of this? Yadyapyete na pashyanti lobho pahat chetasaha kulakshaya kritam dosham mitra dohe cha patkam. Okay, I want all of you to chant this shloka. So can you please unmute, all of you? Unmute. Okay, thank you. I think everyone is getting ready. Ira is also ready. Thank you. Yadyapyetena
Yajñajetena
Yadyapyetena
pashyanti
Pashyanti
lobhopa
Lobhopa
hatachetasaha
Hatachetasaha
kulakshaya kritam
Kulakshayakritam
dosham
Dosham
mitra drohecha
Mitradohecha
patakam.
Patakam.
Now, yadyapyete na pashyanti. Yadyapena, yadi api is yadyapti, that is even though. Etena, that is they, or even though they don't see it. Yadyapyete na pashyanti. So they are not able to see it, because Arjuna is thinking, what would Krishna say to this? All of these different reasons I have given. Krishna might say, but oh Arjuna, you don't want to fight them, but they want to fight you. Right? All of these people, lakhs and lakhs of people have joined here to fight each other. So they have come here, right? So don't you think that they are the right people? And if everyone is thinking like fighting is a good thing, you should fight. In that case, Arjuna is saying, even though these people are not able to see it, they are not able to see the dosha, the path that they are going to get out of this. And why are they not able to see this? Because lobhopa chetasaha. So, lobha upahata chetasaha. So, greed overpowered thoughts. So, these people are overpowered by the thoughts of greed. That, oh, look at that. If I support the Pandavas, I am on the right side and I win the war, then I'm going to get a lot of riches from this war. And the same thing, the people from the Kaurava side are also thinking that, oh, our army is bigger. We are from the ruling party. More probability, mathematically speaking, of we winning. And in that case, we will get a lot of riches. And again, this is the thought process of Arjuna. Then he says, Kulakshayam dosham mitra drohecha patakam. So he says Kulakshayam, that is annihilating their relatives, is the fault, to wreak treachery upon friends and sin. So what they are not able to see is they are going to get a papa by killing their own kula, people from the same kula. They will be getting a lot of papa by killing their own friends. Now, why is he saying friends? That's because there are many people who are friends with each other here. If you look at Drishtadyumna, he was the son of, can anyone remember? Drishtadyumna was the son of
Drupada.
Drupada. I'm 5. Ira, thank you. Drupada, yes. And while he was the son of Drupada, he was studying with all the Pandavas and the Kauravas. So he was not a relative of them, but he was a friend. And all of the Kauravas were also very good friends with Drupada. But even then, now if they face Drupada, they will not think twice before killing him, and thus getting the papa of Mitra Droha. So this is a papa and dosha. Now he is asking a question. You know, when two friends are arguing with each other, one might say, so you tell me, isn't this all wrong things? So far I have been speaking and you are not saying anything, Krishna, and you are such a close friend of mine. Why are you not saying anything? Katham na gneyam asmabhihi papad asmanni vartitum kulakshaya krutam dosham prapashadbhid janardana. So prapashadbhir janardana. So I want everyone to unmute and let's chant this shloka also. I would say every shloka from now on is going to be quite crucial. So we will try to chant all of them. Katham na
Kathamna
Katamna
Gneyamasmabhi
Peyamasmabhi
Asmabi
Papad Asman Nivartitum.
Papat Pasmad
Nivartitum.
Nivartitum
Papad
Papat
Papat
Pasmad
Asmad
Nivartitum.
Nivartitum
Kulakshaya Krutam Dosham
Kulakshaya Kritam Dosham
Prapashadbhir
Prapashadbhi
Janardana.
Janardana.
Okay. Now, Katham na Gneyamasmabhi. So, he says, yet how we can, who so clearly see the evil arising from destroying the family, remain unaware of abstaining from this sin. So there are some people who will commit the sins because they don't know anything. They don't know that doing this is going to give them a lot of sins. And for them, it is okay because it is their ajnana. They don't really know anything. But we, Arjuna says, I know this. Krishna, I know you also know this. So if we know what we are doing is wrong, then isn't it our responsibility to stop them? You see, when you want to inspire someone to do this, to do something, you need them to be on the same page as you. Because let's say that there is a company who has employed a lot of people, and that company wants all the people to come on time. So they will say, okay, here is our super boss who shows up at 9 a.m. Now, don't you think that it is good for you to come at 9 a.m. as well? So they are first showing you an example and asking you a question. Don't you think this is a good thing? Because when you ask a question, don't you think, most likely the answer is yes, I think so, I agree. And when you say yes, you are going to the same page as the person. I was reading a book about negotiations, and in that book, he says the one of the ways in which you can control a conversation where you're negotiating something is where you ask them questions where the answer is yes. Things like, do you agree that I meet your criteria? He will say yes. And do you see that what I'm asking for is not like the salary that I'm asking for is way out of the band? And again, the recruiter will say yes. So in that case, don't you think you should be okay with this salary? So in that case, he has already said yes once, yes twice, and by saying yes one more time, you almost got that person to accept your point of view. And that is one of the negotiation techniques. So in this case, again, when Arjuna is trying to convince Krishna, he is asking him a rhetorical question. Katham na neyam asmabhihi. So don't you think, you tell me, if we know this is the wrong thing to do and we can see it very clearly, oh dear Janardana, by doing a kulakshaya, we will be all getting a dosha and we should stop this. And with that, he goes to the next verse. Now, Arjuna or Krishna might ask him, so okay, kulakshaya is going to happen. By the way, kulakshaya, does anyone know the meaning of kulakshaya?
Erasing of entire clan.
Good one, Sundar. Yes. Erasing of an entire clan. What does that mean? When World War I happened, at that time, the Britishers were ruling India. And the Britishers were pulled into the war. It was not started by the Britishers, but because they were ruling the country where the war was going on, they were also dragged into the war. And now the Britishers wanted troops to fight. One of the biggest sources of troops was India. So many people. So what the British army did is they literally went to village after village after village. And every able-bodied man, old people, and even if you are a cripple, even them, they all picked them up, enforced to sign up in the army, trained for 2 months. And after they trained these people, they didn't even tell them where they are going. They said, you are going on war, that's it. And all of these people were put into boats and put into the sea. And now the boats are sailing. About 3 weeks of voyage. After that, when the boats stopped, all those people were anxious. They didn't know where they're going. But when the boats stopped and they all landed on a port, on a beach, that was actually the war zone. And they immediately had to get inside trenches. Trenches where you dig. So trenches in warfare is used when, let's say, okay, so trenches are used when the entire place is like this. If one guy is standing here, another guy is standing here, they can see each other. So the war will get over quickly. They didn't want to do that. So what did they do? They dug up trenches. And over here, they had a little small things built up, and then you have terrain. And on the other side as well, small things built up and trenches. And people are standing here and fighting with each other. So they were made to stand in the trenches where their boots were always drenched with water. People were sick, but they had to fight. But the reason I'm sharing the story with you is that small village, and that village had no men remaining, only women and kids. That's it. So as a result, an entire family tree was uprooted. Nobody from that family was left alive except the women. And because of that, there were a lot of families that were no longer seen, as there were no people left to carry forward the family name. And that is a classic example of a kulakshaya that happened. But that was done by the British Army and the war. But you see, war always follows the kulakshaya, because so many people from the same family go to the war and they might get killed as well. Now Arjuna is trying to convince Krishna by telling him what all happens because of kulakshaya. So everyone, it is unmuting time. Unmute, please. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so you can read from here also, it will be easier for you. Kulakshaye pranashanti.
Kulakshaye pranashanti.
No. Kulakshaye
Kulakshaye
pranashanti.
pranashanti.
Kuladharmaha
Kuladharmaha
sanatanaha.
Sanatanaha.
Let's read one more time. Kulakshaye pranashanti.
Kulakshaye pranashanti.
Kuladharmaha sanatanaha.
Kuladharmaha sanatanaha.
Dharme nashte kulam krutsnam.
Dharme nashte kulam krishnam.
Not Krishnam, Krutsnam.
Dharme nashte kulat Krishnam.
Krutsnam, yes.
Krishnam, is it?
Yeah, Krutsnam.
Krishnam.
Correct. Dharme nashte kulam krutsnam.
Dharme nashte kulam krishnam.
Adharmo
Adharmo
abhi bhavatyut.
Bhavatyut.
Adharmo abhi bhavatyut.
Adharmo
Bhavatyut.
Thank you. Now what it means, let's look at the meaning. Kulakshaye, we understand that the entire clan being destroyed. Pranashanti means are vanquished. Kuladharmaha, or family traditions. Sanatanaha, or even the eternal traditions. Religion, which is dharma, nashta. So what all things are getting destroyed? Kulakshaye pranashanti, kuladharmaha, sanatanaha, dharme. So there are three things that are being destroyed here. Kuladharma, sanatana, dharma. All of these things are destroyed. Look at the first one, Kuladharma. What is a Kuladharma? You may see there are a lot of people where their great grandfather was in military. Grandfather was in military. Father is in military, and the kids are still aspiring to go to military. All of these are Kshatriya people. And their Kuladharma is Kshatriya. But when Kulakshaya happens, what's happening is they don't know what the history of their clan is. There is nobody left for them to tell that. Because in many cases, the kids are orphaned. So they really don't know anything about their family. So in that case, as an orphan child, if there is a, uh, let's say there is a businessman, that businessman adopts the kid, and that businessman teaches this child a lot of things, and the child also thinks that yes, I'm going to, when I grow up, I'm going to sell the best kind of clothes. Now this child had their kula dharma as fighting, but now he's dreaming of something else, so their kula dharma is destroyed. One of the best sources of kula dharma you will see is in the pujaris. I recently, not recently, but about 6 months ago, I went to a place called Ganagapur, where all the Brahmins over there who are serving in the temples, they are having that service for multiple generations. And I was talking to one of the Brahmins who was the third generation. And that person said, I have done my MBA from Bangalore and I have been doing some IT job also. But recently, my father was not well, so I came back and now I'm helping him with all of this puja vidhi. So again, their kula dharma is preserved because they have been told about that since the childhood. Second thing he said is sanatana. Sanatana is something which is new all the time. You will see sanatana as an adjective being used for our dharma. We are from sanatana dharma. And that means the activities that we have been involved in are fresh all the time. Like they were relevant when my grandfather was teaching, they are relevant when I am teaching and when my daughter will teach. That is called sanatana. Even that is also getting destroyed. And the third thing he said that is getting destroyed is dharma. Because as a part of dharma, you get to know about a lot of things that should be done. These things are prohibited by the dharma. And as a result, you also follow them. Now, there is one specific country, I think it is Myanmar. I will research and come back to you. But that country, most of their people are actually immigrants from India. Their names are also very much similar to Indian names. However, they have no history over there. They don't know a lot of history, not beyond one generation. As a result, they don't follow a lot of things. Whatever comes to their mind, they live. They live happy. They live life according to whatever they think is right. So they are preserving the Sanatan Dharma was reduced until recently. Now some people are going and giving them the pravachan, and now they are also coming to know about Srimad Bhagavat and Ramayana and things like that. So kulakshaye pranashyanti kula dharma sanatanaha dharme nashte kulam krutsnam. Kulam means family. Krutsnam means the whole. So the whole family. Adharmaha, that is irreligion. Abhibhavati, that is overcome indeed. The entire family is overcome with bad thoughts and bad actions. So basically, they are all corrupt. The family is corrupt. And this is not the regular sense of corruption which we hear in the government, dealing under the table and getting work done. Not that kind of corruption. This corruption is where you will see there are some people who always have bad thoughts. You give them a knife, that person will not think that, oh, I can cut some very nice cheese or some fish with this knife. They would say, oh, yeah, I can murder somebody with this knife very easily. Only bad thoughts. That is called corruption at a psychological level. And he is saying, adharma abhibhavati. These people will be increasing in numbers. And that leads to something known as, we'll be seeing that in the next verse. Now, look at the way Arjuna has created his sentences. Previous one we saw Krutsnam Adharmo Abhibhavatyut. And then next verse, adharmat abhibhavat Krishna. Again, adharma abhibhavat. Continuing. Adharmat abhibhavat Krishna pradushyanti kulastriya. Pradushyanti, that is becoming immoral. Kulastriya, that is the women of the family, they become immoral because of all of this adharma. And now this is like a ripple effect. When the kulastriya becomes adharmi, what happens after that? Strishu dushtasu varshneya. Varshneya means the descendant of Vrishni. So another name of Krishna is Varshneya. Strishu dushtasu varshneya jayate varnasankaraha. Jayate means are born. Varnasankaraha. Unwanted progenies are born. So what's happening is, because your Sanatana Dharma is lost, as a result, the women of the family will also start thinking all this adharma. And whatever the mother is thinking, all of those qualities are automatically passed on to the children also. And that is why, so look at the way Arjuna is convincing Krishna. He's telling him the ripple effects of his actions. You know, this is something I have observed in the Sherlock Holmes series also. When Sherlock Holmes starts to speak, he will build a series of logical connections. His feet had dirt on them, dirt from the railway station. That means he must have gone to the railway station. If he was at the railway station, that means he was not at home. And if he was not at home, that means he is one of the suspects. But he also lied to me earlier. That means higher probability of being a suspect. So he builds this entire chain of logic. Very similarly, Arjuna also has built this entire chain of logic. What is the chain of logic? Arjuna says, because of this battle, an entire family tree will be uprooted. As a result, there is nobody to tell the people what are the things that they are supposed to do. That is dharma. So if dharma goes away, then the kulastriya, the women of the kula, will be corrupted. If they are corrupted, they will give birth to a janata, also called as varna sankara. Now here, the word sankara is important. The word sankara is important because a lot of people call Shankara as Sankara. Okay? Sankara in Sanskrit means corruption. And Shankara is the name of the god. So you should be very careful when you pronounce the names of people and the gods also. Otherwise, somebody might say कि मैं सोमवार को शंकर जी का व्रत करता हूं. And the meaning of that is completely different than what they actually intended to say. Is everyone okay with me so far? Is everyone with me?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, in the last 8 minutes that we still have left with us, let's see what happens when the Varna Sankara Praja gets created. Now, everyone, unmuting time. Okay. Sankaro Narakayaiva.
Sankaro Narakayaiva.
Kulagnanam.
Kulavinanam.
Kulasya cha.
Kulasya cha.
Patanti pitaro.
Patanti
Pitaro.
Yosham.
Yosham.
Lupta.
Lupta
Pindodaka.
Pindodaka
Kriyaha. Let's read it together now. Sankaro Narakayaiva.
Sankaro Narakayaiva
Kulagnanam Kulasya cha.
Kulagnanam Kulasya cha
Patanti pitaro Yosham.
Patanti pitaro Yosham
Lupta Pindodaka Kriyaha.
Luptapindodaka kriyaha.
Okay, now we need to go reverse here. So when we teach cyber security and we teach DNS, at that time, DNS resolution starts from the right and goes to the left. Very similarly, this one goes from the right and it goes towards the left, where you should know what is Pindodaka Kriya. You should know what is Pinda, Udaka, and Kriya. So when a person dies, at that time, in our Sanatana Dharma, we cremate the body and we have got the ashes. Now somebody is going to carry those ashes and they take those ashes near to a water body, mostly a lake or a river, and over there they will perform the Pindodaka Kriya. Pinda means a small portion of food, and Udaka means you need to samarpit, you need to submit that food to the water gods and also to the creatures who are nearby. One of them is a crow. So a crow should come and sit and touch his beak to that small portion of food that we have kept. The moment the crow touches the food, whoever person had died, whose ashes were being flown into the water, that person's Atma is now mukta from this earth. This is called as Lupta, or this is called as the Pindodaka Kriya. Is everyone, has everyone understood that? Pindodaka Kriya?
Yeah.
Now, imagine this. The entire clan has died. The entire clan has died. And as a result, Varna Sankara Praja got created because the women were now free. They could have children from anyone. And as a result, when the child was born, the child did not know who is the father. Now, when the child is born and the child does not know who is the father, in that case, when those people die, they don't know who's going to do the Pindodaka Kriya for them. As a result, their Atma are going to keep roaming around, not getting the Shanti. So, how is this important? Now let's go to the shloka. Sankaro narakayaiva. Sankaro, that is unwanted children. Narakaya, that is hellish. Eva, indeed. Unwanted children are hellish indeed. Kulagnanam, that is for those who destroy the family. Kulasyacha, of the family. Also, patani, that is fall. Pitaraha, ancestors, he, that is they also make their ancestors fall down. Isham, that is there, so they make their ancestors to fall down as well. Then Arjuna says Lupta, that is deprived of Pindodaka Kriya, performances of the sacrificial offerings. Now what it means is, all of us who are living here, we have had ancestors. It is believed that when somebody dies and Pindodaka Kriya is performed, now their soul goes from this world to the next world. And there are 8 different layers of the world above. And as the Pitara or the previous people were doing their good deeds, they keep moving up, up, up because of the things that their current generation is doing. Which means all of you here, whatever good deeds you are doing, it's not just helping you, it's helping your Pitaraha as well. And that goes positively and negatively. If somebody is doing all the worst kind of things, even their Pitaraha are also gaining all of that. If they were on the 8th loka, they will fall down to the first loka. And if you make it even bad, so bad that they will go from the first loka to the Naraka loka, and they will go to hell. Not just one, all of the Pitaras. So he's saying the ripple effect of my actions is not just on this loka, but the Pitaraha of not just me, But all of these lakhs of people, so many generations of families will be dragged into hell because of the decision that I am going to make. And that's why I don't want to fight. Is it convincing? Do you think this rationale is convincing? It sounds convincing, right? What do you think?
I think he's
Yes.
thinking too much.
Yeah, he's thinking too much. You haven't heard him yet. He's going to think more.
Oh, okay.
See, Arjuna,
Aniket, it is from common man's perspective, definitely it is going to happen.
yes, definitely. From
When-
a
yeah.
common man's perspective, this is what's going to happen. Yes,
Yeah, because you think, as Richa just mentioned, you think
correct.
a lot, and definitely all these thoughts come into play.
Very true. Very true. And then all these thoughts come into play when you overthink a situation. But in this
Yes.
case, see, Arjuna is one of the qualities or disqualities he had was he was a papa bhiru. Bhiru means afraid. He was afraid of committing papa. Maybe we'll go deeper into that as we meet again next Friday. I'll tell you the story of how Arjuna was a papa bhiru. But before that, I want to share with all of you. Tomorrow, I'm doing a storytelling session on Shiva. Tomorrow is Mahashivratri. Session is called Who is Shiva? It's a 1 hour session, mainly for kids, small kids who don't know anything about Shiva. So I'm going to introduce them to the world of Shiva. And when he sits with that Chandrama on his head, snake around his neck, with a blue throat and a blue body and bhasma, what does it all mean? So we are going to unpack that tomorrow on Mahashivratri. All right, with that, let's wrap up the session today. I hope you guys liked the session.
Yes, we
Yes.
did. Thank you.
Yes, Aniket, thank you.